My name is Sammy Gonzales Zeira. I am the CEO founder of Young Musicians Unite. We believe that every child deserves access to a free music education. We're part of in-school music education in Miami-Dade. We work with 9,000 students every single week across 61 schools. Arts Access Miami is a collective impact project where we have 25 of the largest arts and music education organizations in Miami-Dade working together to be able to provide free access for every child. That is the mission, that is the goal. And what we realize is that we cannot do that alone. One organization cannot scale across 397 schools. That is impossible. So the problem, and this is universal in arts, music, or any other space, is that people don't want to collaborate. People work in silos. They see each other as competition, right? They lack strategy because of that. So what we realize is that you have this inequity of resources where one school will have 2, 3 people fighting for kids while the school down the street will have no one, right? So the solution is to be able to coalition build, to partner with organizations, to have that transparency, to be able to talk about our strategic plans, where we're going, how are we going there, and to be able to have joint fundraising, storytelling, and to be able to have data together. So I partnered with Derek Negron of Carroll City Middle School. That's what I do. I like to partner with middle schools. I do grades 5 to 12, but what a lot of people don't realize is that in 2008 in Miami-Dade, after the recession, almost every single inner city middle school program was cut in Miami-Dade. Almost all of them. So when I walked into Carroll City Middle School, I walked into an abandoned music room. 2018, 10 years, nothing. And when I looked on the wall, I can see plaques for every year of straight superiors with distinction, the highest level you can get. And then I heard that they had the most revered marching band in all of Miami. So I walk over to the high school, and I meet the band director, and I see a room with 40 kids in the classroom, 12 kids playing, and the other kids are just watching them. And I asked the teacher, what's going on? Why are they just watching, and why aren't they all playing? And he pointed to a bundle of instruments in the corner, all broken, and he said, I don't have enough instruments for all the kids, and this is $20,000 to fix this. So we decided, number one, we were going to the next day pick up all the instruments and fix them, which for us, we were able to do that for $2,000 because we had someone that was a Lutheran that was interested to help us. And then I told the middle school we're going to start in the fall. 2 days later, I get a call from the principal in the middle school, and he says, I have an awkward situation. He said, one student, Tyson, got his friends, and they left their classroom when they found out we have a music program in the fall, and they're upset because they want it now. And I don't know what to do. So I called Dan Lewis, and I told him what happened. I felt awkward about it. And he said, cool, when are you going to start? You're going to start next week? And I was like, okay. There's only 3 months of the school year left, but let's do it. So I went with Derek Negron. We started teaching these kids. And at the time, he was saying he had 7 feeder elementary schools. And only 23 kids a year were going to his school. That was it. Under enrollment, could not afford to start a music education program, but then couldn't keep the kids because he had nothing to offer them. So because of that, we started the program, and we went to all the open houses at every single one of these schools. And he said, I'm Derek Negron, I am the new principal, come to my school, it's going to be great. Then we started taking those middle school kids, and we started taking them to the high school and getting them mentored by the high school kids. So they're excited to go to the high school. Keep them in that feeder pattern. We call it feeder patterns. So we have 7, 8 elementaries, 2 to 3 middle schools, and 1 high school. So it's a feeder pattern, and we have 29 of those in Miami-Dade. That spring, that fall, after the spring, they had 78 kids sign up to Carroll City Middle School from 23, 294% increase. So it worked. And they were able to buy a part-time teacher. So now we're teaching 2 classes, they have 4, and we have 6 teachers. And because of that, we move forward, and now I can say a few years later that Carroll City Middle School has a full-time music teacher. We just had our concert, a winter concert, and there was theater, there was dance, there was music, there was marching bands, and the auditorium was packed with parents who cared. And that marching band that used to be revered is now up to 104 students marching and dancing, and 8 students got a full ride to college last year. The only thing that's keeping us from working together is money. So if money was off the table, what would that look like? And In the beginning, only 28% of students in the Carroll City feeder pattern picked up an instrument every single week. And now 81% of students are participating in free music education, arts education. And it's grown from there. And believe it or not, we have reduced the funding, but there's more funding going on in the area because the school has stepped up, other foundations have stepped up, the organizations have leveraged their dollars to be able to do more. But we did have QQ Analytics do a report for us, and when they took the students in Carroll City and compared them to students of similar demographics from across the district, we saw a 60% reduction in absences and tardies. Kids were excited to come to school. They show up more on the days that they have music. Teaching them. So right now, 55 sites, over 11,000 students, 25 organizations, 428 classrooms, 300 plus performances, which sounds crazy, but everyone is required to do a fall and spring concert, and then that's infectious. And then the principals realize, well, why don't we just have a concert every single time we have an award ceremony? And then why don't we do it every time someone shows up? And then why don't we do it during the basketball game? And then before you know, there's concerts all the time. And we've seen that grow too. And I remember the first time when we were trying to do concerts, principals were like, why? Who cares? That just sounds too much work. And now it's a big part of their strategy to keep the kids in the school, and they understand that culture. Because we may think we're cool, but the kids don't think we're cool. Kids want to see other kids perform, and that's cool. To be able to have this wraparound arts education coalition of every single arts education organization in Miami-Dade, working in every single school, filling every single gap, because that's the goal. We're gap fillers. It's like, well, how do you only do that with 50 million? Because we're not reallocating funds or taking away. If there's a school with an amazing program, then we're going to go to the school down the street, and then we're going to make sure they're partnering.